Then next part of the diuretics or the drugs which act on diuretics, they are called as side 3 diuretics. So the drugs which act on side 3, which are responsible to inhibit the reabsorption of ions from side 3, these drugs they are comes under the diuretics. And these drugs or these side 3 diuretics, they having the thiazide, benzothiazide or these like structures. So they are also called as thiazide diuretics, benzothiazide diuretics, because the drugs which having this type of structure or like structure, that is similar structure like thiazide or benzothiazide. So this is the structure of thiazide, or you can say thiazine. And when we are attaching a benzene ring, the structure becomes benzo. Sulfur is there, so thia, two nitrogens are present, so diazine. So it is called as benzothiazine. So this is the scaffold, or this is the basic nucleus which are present inside three diuretics, that is the benzothiazine. As the numbering start, that is sulfur it gets 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so in this way the numbering takes place. And 1 to the sulfur, then this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, 5, this is 6, this is 7, and this carbon it gets number 8. Okay, so we will start with the SIR of these diuretics. The first point in the SIR is that these type of drugs they are weak acid. So they consist of two types of acidic groups which are present in this structure. One is this NH group and second one this SO2 NH2, in that this NH2 group. So these two groups they are responsible to, or these two groups are having the acidic nature in this structure. Out of this one, the second position NH group is more acidic as compared to this group, as they are present in the ring structure, so resonating effect is there, as well as this SO2 group which is present in the ring structure, they are responsible to produce more kind of electron withdrawing effect. Hence the NH group present at the second position becomes electron deficient, so they can accept more amount of electrons and they becomes more acidic as compared to this free SO2 NH2 group which are present as substituted at the 7th position. So during SAR, the first point that these are the weak acids. Second one, the SO2 group present at the first position must be for the activity. So this group, that is the SO2 group which is present at the first position, it is must for activity. We cannot replace this SO2 group, or we cannot replace sulfur with the carbon. So SO2 group is must for the activity. Next part, hydrogen present on N, it is at the second position, becomes more acidic because of electron withdrawing effect of SO2. So that we have already discussed. Then next part, the C3 and nitrogen, if saturated, the activity will increase by 10 times. So this is third carbon, this is nitrogen. Okay, so this third carbon and nitrogen, there is double bond is present. So if we make it is saturated, that means if we remove this double bond between this C3 and nitrogen which is present at the fourth position, the drug becomes, this part becomes saturated and the activity will increases by 10 times. Next one, this R3 that is present at the third position, it can be substituted the groups like haloalkyl, araalkyl, thioether. If we substitute it by these groups, then their lipophilicity increases and ultimately it will give better duration of activity. So these are the points which are comes under the SAR. Next point, if we add alkyl group at N2 position, it will decreases polarity and it will increases duration of action. Next point, at sixth position, there must be presence of electron withdrawing group. If electron donating groups are present, they will disturb the resonating effect and it will decreases the activity. So at the sixth position we can substitute it with the halogens CF3. Okay, so they are the highly active. Okay, but if at that position if electron releasing group or electron donating group is present, the activity decreases. At sixth position if trifluoromethane is present, then it will increase lipid solubility and duration of activity as compared with the chlorine. Okay, so at the seventh position SO2 NH2 present, it must be present for the optimum activity. We cannot substitute this NH2 group with any other methyl group or ethyl group or any other group like NHCH3, NHC2H5 or NCH3CH3. Like this we cannot go for the substitution. Okay, NH2CO2 is the weak group, is the acid but is the weak acid as compared to this NH. These acidic groups they are required for the water soluble salt formation or for the better aqueous solubility. So next part, that is the examples. In the examples, this is the structure, this is the second structure. Okay, at the this NH group we can substitute with the NCH3, it will retain the activity. So here the in second group they are substituted this group. So chlorothiazide, benzthiazide, hydrochlorothiazide, hydrochlorothiazide, trichloromethazide, methyl chlorothiazide. These are the examples which comes under these benzthiazide derivatives. These are the other examples, that is the metolazone, quinethazone, chlorthalidone, endopamide. These are comes under this side three diuretics, but they are the benzothiazine like derivatives. They are not the thiazide or benzothiazine derivative. They are the like derivatives as they consist of sulfamyl moiety, they consist of the benzene ring, they consist of the halogen. So they are the similar kind of structure which comes under these groups. Okay, so SAR first position, SO2 group must be present, it cannot be replaced. This NH group, instead of H we can substitute with the CH3, it will no effect on activity. The R3 groups which is present, this R3 group, it can be the aralkyl, thioether or haloalkyl, that is the lipid soluble drug, lipid soluble group, so that increases the duration of activity. This double bond between C3 and this nitrogen, if we made it saturated, we can remove that double bond, it will increases the activity 10 times with these unsaturated compound. At the sixth position there must be presence of electron withdrawing group. If electron donating group is present, what happens, it will changes the resonance and it will decreases the activity. And in that, if CF3 group is present, it will show better activity, better duration of action because of its higher lipid solubility. At the seventh position there is presence of SO2 NH2. This SO2 NH2 is necessary for the activity, we cannot replace this group, and mainly the NH2 group must be in the NH2 form. We cannot substitute the hydrogen which is present on the NH2 by any other group like alkyl group or any other cycloalkyl group or aromatic groups. Okay, the NH group at this position is more acidic as compared to this NH2 which is present at the seventh position. The next class, that is site 4 diuretics. So the drugs which act on site 4, that is the collecting tubules, they are called as site 4 diuretics. So site 4 diuretics, they are classified into two types, that is aldosterone antagonist and directly acting diuretics. So as we have studied, this is a collecting tubules. So in the collecting tubules there is a reabsorption of sodium takes place. So From collecting tubules or the nephron, the sodium ions it exit and it enters into the blood. Similarly, potassium ions it enters into the urine. So potassium ions they are excreted through the urine. Sodium ions they comes into the blood. Their reabsorption into the blood takes place. Okay, so that is the general mechanism takes place in the collecting tubules, and this is one antiportar present, and there is another. Okay, another antiportar is present, that is the sodium proton, that is the sodium and H plus. Here potassium is there, instead of that H plus ions are there. But this sodium potassium, this antiportar is catalyzed by, or it is activated by aldosterone. So aldosterone is the mineralocorticoid. It is a steroid hormones which is responsible to carry this reaction. That is the sodium potassium antiportar. Okay. So depending upon that, these side 4 diuretics they are classified into two parts. One is aldosterone antagonist, second one is direct acting diuretics. So the directly acting diuretics they directly act on these antiportar and they inhibit the reabsorption of sodium ions. But in case of aldosterone antagonists, they are responsible to block the activity of aldosterone. So these aldosterone antagonists they block the activity of aldosterone. Okay. So examples eplerenone and spironolactone. These are the aldosterone antagonists and directly acting diuretics. They are amiloride and triamterene. So this is the structure of aldosterone. This is the steroid hormone, that is the mineralocorticoid which is responsible to activate these antiportar so that sodium ions it will reabsorb into the blood and potassium ions it comes into the urine. Mhm. So aldosterone antagonist. So aldosterone antagonists they must have the similar structure like steroid hormones. That is the steroidal structure because aldosterone is the steroid. So these spironolactone, if they have to compete with the aldosterone, they must have the similar structure of aldosterone. Okay, then only it can compete with the aldosterone for the binding to the receptor, and instead of aldosterone this spironolactone it binds to the receptor and it will block the activity of aldosterone. Okay, so sodium and water are excreted but the potassium ion it will remains into the blood. Now, as I have told, these sodium ions and potassium ions. So the potassium ions come from blood into the urine, and sodium ions exit from urine into the blood. So that is the reabsorption of sodium ion takes place and excretion of potassium ion takes place during the normal functioning. But when we are giving the aldosterone antagonist, this process is inhibited. Hence, the potassium ions it will remain as it is in the blood. Hence, these diuretics they are also called as potassium sparing diuretics. Because if we are giving these diuretics, the potassium ion concentration in the blood increases, and this potassium ion remains into the blood. Okay, so they are called as the potassium sparing diuretics. So uses edema, antihypertensive agent they are using for this one. Hyperkalemia, as we have discussed, potassium ions it will remains into the blood. So the concentration of potassium ion in the blood increases. It will results into the hyperkalemia. The metabolic acidosis, gynecomastia in men, breast tenderness, then GIT symptoms. These are takes place as a side effects of spironolactone. So this is the structure of spironolactone. This is its IUPAC name, IUPAC name. The spironolactone, when it undergo metabolism, it gives the structure that is the canrenone. It is the metabolite product of spironolactone. So this canrenone is the active metabolite it is also having the activity of aldosterone antagonist. So these undergo metabolism. So this SOCH3, it is removed during the metabolism, and we are giving the active metabolite, that is the canrenol. This is the structure of eplerenone. It is also the aldosterone antagonist. It having the steroidal structure. These are the metabolites of eplerenone. At 6th position, if hydroxylation takes place, it is called as 6-beta hydroxyeplerenone. Sometimes at the 6th position and at 20th position, the hydroxylation takes place. It is called as dihydroxyeplerenone. Here also at 21st position or at 3rd and 6th position. So in which way eplerenone undergo metabolism? In these two ways, that is, they are responsible to form hydroxylation at 6th position, hydroxylation at 6 and 21 position, hydroxylation at only 20 position, or 3 and 6 position. The next drug, that is the trimethylene, as they are not the aldosterone antagonists, they act by other way. They don't have the structure similar with the steroidal hormones. So at the 6th position, there is a phenyl substitution is present. So if phenyl substituted with the hydroxy group, it will increase the activity. That is the first point of SAR. If at 6th position hydroxy group is substituted on phenol, it will increase the activity. And this phenyl group, it can be replaced by other small heterocyclic rings. Then again, the amino groups, there are three amino groups are present. They must be present in the form of NH2. These groups cannot be substituted like NHCH3 or NCH3CH3. The next one, the structure is similar like pteridine. So pteridine is the part of folic acid. So due to the structural similarities with the folic acid, they are also act as the dihydrofolate reductase, but they having the very little activity as they having the only small part of the folic acid. So that is the SAR. First part, para 6th position phenyl group, there must be presence at the hydroxy group at the para position. Second one, 6th phenyl group can be replaced by small heterocyclic ring. Third one, these three amine groups, it must be present in the form of unsubstitution. And fourth one, due to the structure similarities with the folic acid part, that is the pteridine, it shows some kind of DHFR inhibitors, but they are having very little activity. Now, this structure is the pteridine structure. Okay, so these two rings, they are the pteridine structures. Okay, at the 6th position, phenyl group is present, so it is called as 6-phenyl pteridine or 6-aryl pteridine. And there are three amine groups are present at 2nd position, 4th position, and 7th position. So they are called as 2, 4, 7 triamino. At 6th position, aryl group, so 6-aryl pteridine. Then next example, that is the amiloride. It is the pyrazinol guanidine derivatives. So this is the structure of guanidine. This is the structure of pyrazine. So CO is present. So pyrazinoid guanidine structures, they are present. Okay, they are having the similar effect. They are the directly acting groups. SAR, similar type of SAR. At the 6th position, Cl is present, electron withdrawing group. At the 3rd and 5th position, amine group present, they must be unsubstituted. And the guanidine nitrogen, which is present, this part and this part, they are not substituted with alkyl group. If they are substituted with alkyl group, they will decreases the activity.